It was about to become one of my favorite films of the year, but it didn't quite get there.
അഞ്ചുനേരം നിസ്കാരം മുടക്കാത്തവനാ സുലൈമാൻ. അന്നേരം പുറകിലൂടെ ഇങ്ങനെ ഇழுத்து വലിച്ചാ പെട്ടെന്ന് തീരൂടെ.
ഇതിനകത്ത് നീ പോലീസ് അല്ല ആര് കയറണില്ല, ഈ നാട്ടുകാർ സമ്മതിക്കണം. ഞങ്ങൾക്കറിയാം ഈ നാടെങ്ങനെ കാക്കണമെന്ന്.
Servus Freunde, my name is Jimmy Cage and Malik is a brand new Malayalam language epic crime drama. It should have already been released in theaters last year and then again this year, but both times it just wasn't possible because of the still ongoing pandemic. Now it was directly released on Amazon Prime, which is definitely a little bit sad because it would have played great on the big screen, but on the other hand we are finally able to watch and talk about it. Malik marks the third directorial work by Mahesh Narayanan, who also wrote and edited the film. His first film as a director, 2017's Take Off, was actually one of the very first Malayalam movies that I have ever seen and reviewed on this channel. His second one, See You Soon, was shot and released in the midst of the pandemic and told its story in this rather experimental, display-only style. In a way, at least when it comes to the production order, See You Soon was actually Narayanan's third and Malik his second movie. And this one surely is big. It marks lead actor Fahad Fazil's most expensive movie to this date, and it tells the epic life story of his character Suleiman, aka Ali Ika. It does so in spanning several decades, starting in the present and then unveiling the past through 3 long flashbacks. When the movie opens up with this more than 10-minute long continuous shot, we are introduced to the world of this godfather-like figure. We are introduced to several important characters around him and to the movie's main themes like family, religion, politics, power, but also remorse. Suleiman is a devout Muslim. We can see him pray several times throughout the film, and the tumultuous life he has led has left its marks on him. In his eyes, God is the only one who can judge him, and despite the dangers involved, he is going for Hajj, which is the Islamic pilgrimage to Mecca. But not only gets he arrested at the airport, but the police are also trying to finish him off in jail by using his young nephew Freddy to do the job. As someone who's standing outside the law and having huge portions of the community on his side, Suleiman is in the way of the police and more so in the way of politicians and their own corrupt schemes. The movie is then unfolding through these 3 big flashbacks that are being told by 3 different characters to Freddy, through which Freddy and the audience alike is getting a better understanding of this man's life, the characters around him, and how they shaped and built the communities they live in, and how their surroundings, vice versa, shaped them as well. It is set in this fictitious coastal village in Kerala that contains of 2 religious communities, Muslims and Christians. And in one of the most beautiful and memorable scenes in the film, we see how their 2 landmarks, the mosque on one side and the big Jesus statue on the other, are facing off. But it's not so much that they are facing off, it's more like they are embracing each other. And Suleiman himself has fallen in love with a Christian woman, Rosaline, played by the fantastic Nimisha Zajayan, who, like Fahad Fazil, we see at the beginning of the movie in old age makeup, and then in the flashbacks as a young person. Now, as I'm describing this movie, I'm afraid I'm a bit all over the place, but with epic films like this that contain so many different characters and also time periods, it's not that easy. What I can tell you is that I thought the whole first half of the movie is pretty fantastic. I was hooked and invested into this world from the get-go. The introduction at Suleiman's big house, the tense documentary-like arrest at the airport, and then the chaos that follows after that, which then led to the arrest of Freddy as well. The movie has a strong grip and a very realistic raw appeal. It gives the audience important clues early on, opens up several mysteries about these characters, and engages you to stay for the entire journey. Other movies like The Godfather, Nayakan or Gangs of Wasseypur have of course already told similar stories before, and there are indeed quite a few elements in Malik that instantly draw comparison to those iconic predecessors of the genre. Like a sequence in which Suleiman is following a local rival from above some rooftops to then kill him, which is very reminiscent of a similar scene in The Godfather Part 2 with the young Vito Corleone. But Malik is able to stand on its own, and it's unmistakably in the tradition of recent Malayalam cinema. It is very naturalistic, not going for too many big gestures or action-heavy events. It isn't going for some hero worship or much romanticism when it comes to this godfather-like figure. Which doesn't mean that there are no epic, powerful moments. I, for example, really loved how things early on revolve around the fact that the place behind the mosque is misused as a garbage dump, and how Suleiman is trying to change that. And I was also really into the way he and his close friends are rising up by their smuggling business. And like other great Malayalam movies, Malik is populated by an already mentioned huge amount of different characters who are brought to life by fantastic, effortlessly naturalistic performances. An early highlight for me was, for example, Indran's portrayal of a ruthless policeman. Alongside Fahad Fazil and Nimisha Sajjan, who really has a remarkable year with The Great Indian Kitchen, Nayatu, and now this one, we also get Jojo George as Anwar Ali, a sub-collector who only enters the movie after about an hour, but also with a wonderfully expressive camera shot and focus shift inside the mosque. We get Dilesh Potan as P.A. Abu Bakr, Suleiman's friend and later politician, Vinay Ford as David, Suleiman's closest friend in the beginning and the brother of Rosaline, Zanal Aman as Freddy, Jalaja as Suleiman's mother, and many more. The acting is top-notch, and especially Fahad Fazil gives another highlight of his career as this powerful figure with all these different facets. The old quiet man who's questioning his life, the young school dropout who becomes this rebellious man of the people. Fahad is great in each time of Suleiman's life. He has also wonderful chemistry with Nimisha Sajjan, both when they are young and equally outspoken and energetic, and when they are old, trying to keep their power but also saddened by the events of their lives, especially by the loss of their son, which is hinted at from the beginning. But despite this overlying melancholy, especially in the present day scenes, there are also some nice comedic moments sprinkled in. For example, when Suleiman and his friends are selling smuggled perfume bottles and Rosaline tells them how wrong they are about the price. Or when the sub-collector is entering their warehouse and everyone first tries to flee. Again, I had a great time with the movie in the first half and thought it to be one of this year's absolute best. But to some degree, at least for me, this suffered from the second half syndrome. It's not falling apart, that would be way too harsh to say, but I don't think it can quite live up to the potential of the first. I think once again the strong female character gets sidelined way too much. Rosaline has almost no screen time in the second half. And I also felt that, similar to Jagam Tandiram, Jojo George was a little bit wasted in this one. I was looking forward to more from his character. And also Dilesh Potan's P.A. Abu Bakr felt too absent from the actual story for me, which is kind of strange because I totally got what they were aiming for. That the police and politics are the true evil that is tearing this community apart, and that it's not the different religions. That's something that gets clear very early on, and Dilesh Potan's figure is part of that problem. And maybe I'm missing something, but somehow the real emotional punch in all of this was missing for me. The second most important character after Suleiman and even before Freddy is David. He is a Christian, and it's him who becomes like a victim of the circumstances, somehow blind to what's really going on, and then blaming Suleiman for the pain and suffering of the Christian community. Again, maybe I'm missing something, but his turn felt very rushed to me. There's this one line of dialogue in which he learns about the police raping the women of his community, which felt very sudden and unexpected to me, and I was rather astonished how much David went against Suleiman after all that happened, and also when it becomes quite clear that Suleiman is a man who doesn't want to divide the people. I don't know, this whole breakup of their friendship never felt completely tangible for me, and the way politics and the police are responsible for the division and decade-long rivalries felt rather shallow in my opinion. The movie couldn't completely deliver for me, and from the intense beginning, especially the stuff with Freddy, I was expecting a lot more. Unfolding the story through these 3 flashbacks gives it a nice structure, but the different perspectives also didn't really feel that distinct to me, apart from the obvious differences in the times they are covering. It also left me rather cold when we finally get to the moment when Suleiman and Rosaline are losing their son. I felt there was way too little time focused on that family bond, and the situation in which it happens felt also quite muddled to me, and I wondered how exactly the son got to that point. It's also then that the film presents its second big long continuous shot. While the first one reminded me of a Scorsese-like tracking shot that introduces us to a specific world, the second one reminded me of Children of Men, in which we follow a character through a battlefield in which there's so much shooting and carnage around him. Honestly, it felt a little bit exaggerated to me, and all the hidden cuts were quite noticeable. But with that being said, I definitely have to laud the filmmakers for the work that is on display here. From a technical standpoint, Malik is remarkable. I loved how much the movie is able to suck us into this world and establish this coastal village as a real place. The camera work by Zanu Varghese, the editing by Narayanan himself, and the music, both the 2 songs and the background score by Sushin Shyam, were marvelous. Malik is an impressive film to watch, and it would have played even better on the big screen. Still, it somehow lost me a little bit in the second half. Maybe it was trying too much, maybe the socio-political aspect was at the same time too obvious and too understated, if that makes any sense. It's without a doubt a good movie, but in the end it left me a little bit indifferent. So in German I'd say, Malik ist episches Gangsterkino auf Malayalam-Art. Großartig gespielt, speziell Fahad Fazil, und technisch top in allen Bereichen. Leider kann er für mich die Stärke und Intensität der ersten Hälfte aber nicht halten und verpufft zum Ende in etwas. I give Malik 7 out of 10. It's more like 7.2, but I don't do that. Alright, that's it like always. Comment below and let me know what you think about Malik. You can hit me up on Twitter, Instagram and Letterboxd, and also on Patreon, simply at The Jimmy Cage. And if you enjoyed this episode, please give me a thumbs up, share, subscribe, whatever you like, and make sure you hit that bell for all I have to tell.